Okay. Hi, my name is Raj, and I'm here presenting you my application, which is NUS Navigator. So before I actually continue, I'd just like to say that I was the only person working in my team, so please do try to be a little lenient especially during the Q&A session, if possible. But that's besides the point. So moving on. So when I set out to make this application here, NUS Navigator, I had one primary goal in mind, and that was to make it the premier campus navigator for both staff, students, and visitors. Means I could just whip out my iPhone and just download the app and just start using it without any worries or qualms. So to do this, I had to have several goals, and these are some of the major goals. Firstly, I wanted the user to be able to search, touch, and view campus locales. That's, of course, the most basic one. Next up, I wanted the user to not only be able to touch and display the information, but find out more about these places as well. Next up, I wanted the user from his current location to be able to get certain key areas such as ATMs, F&B outlets, parking, and bus stops. And last but not least, I wanted the user to be able to find his way either from his current location to the place he wants to, either that or between two locations itself, whether he is driving or he's taking the NUS shuttle bus. So those are some of the major goals. Now I'll talk about the technical goals. Okay, so first and foremost, of course, is an easy-to-use, intuitive UI. That's what I wanted to have. And next up, I wanted it to be fast and responsive with good memory management. So in this case, since I'm using iOS, I wanted ARC to be enabled, automated reference counting. Next up, I wanted accurate location tracking. So if you actually take a look at the current NUS map application, it is using its own map view. It doesn't make use of iOS's map view API. It uses its own custom map. And yes, it's good, it's fast, but the issue is that it uses images to display, image coordinates to actually display your points, so it's not very accurate. So that's something I wanted to beat. Next up, of course, is some basic IVLE integration for staff and students. Now, of course, this is strictly a navigation app, very strictly a navigation app. So the IVLE integration is just to help the user to, say, find his classroom, something like that. So I didn't want to mess everything and add in all the IVLE features and stuff. So those were the technical goals. Now, the platform, of course, you would have realized by now that I'm using iOS. Now, the reason why I chose iOS, first of all, is because it has very unified performance across all devices. For example, I tested it on the iPhone 3GS, iPad 1, and my iPhone 4S. It works great. Yep. And also, it's ARC enabled with better memory management, and it's also got the second largest user base in NUS. So last semester, I did this project called CG1413, and we interviewed 250 staff and students from all faculties. And we noticed that there was a 38% user base of iOS, just for the iPhone itself, not including the iPad or anything like that. And 45% was Android. And of course, the rest was BlackBerry and Windows, etc. So it has a good user base. Next up, of course, I'm an ardent Mac fan myself. So I wanted to develop for the iOS platform. And the thing is, actually, prior to this, I have no development experience in Objective-C. So I spent about a month learning it in order to do this app. So I hope I have applied my skills respectively. Yeah, so that's the platform. Now I'd like to show you a video, part of the video that I actually used to advertise my application on Facebook. So please watch. Oh, I don't have sound. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can get the sound to work. No, there's no sound actually. I'll play it out from my MacBook, that's okay. Imagine that you have just arrived at campus and you had an app that will instantly let you see your lessons for the day. And you could tap and view it on the map, any map you like, with the ability to know everything about that route. And you could find multiple routes from your location to that route. And you could tap on any bus stop you like and get the bus timings. Yes, Yeah, so that was just a short video of the app or what you can expect later on. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the datasets and APIs being used. First and foremost, of course, is the Google API, which is Google Maps. I'm overlaying my map on top of Google Maps, so that ensures accuracy. And I'm also using Google Directions API. Prior to this, you saw the routes being drawn in red lines. That's actually using Google Directions API. And also, something special, I added the custom overlay framework by this user called eBinion. This is really fantastic framework which lets me add any kind of map I want directly onto Google Maps. And it's completely tile-based, so the maps will load in and load out. And memory management is fantastic. There's no lag whatsoever. Next up, of course, is IVLE. IVLE is just basic post login and XML get, and it's strictly timetable data, as I mentioned earlier. And I've added this thing called Lessons of the Day, where the user can simply tap and view just all of his lessons for the day, so he can instantly get his basic timetable. I don't think there was such a function for on the IVLE API, from what I know. Next up is food. The data, of course, is from the OED website, and it basically contains the opening hours and telephone numbers. Next up, of course, is the bus stops and car parks. The data is from OED, and it's basically the location data. Plus, I've added in some more information, such as the exact bus stop code, B04 or 13 something, the exact code, so the user can actually search for it more easily. Next up, of course, is the NUS locales. So the NUS locales is data kindly sent by the CIT, and it has location data plus additional information such as the short forms, etc. And I've added in newer locations such as the MRT, MD6, libraries, and certain telephone numbers. Last but not least is the bus timings, and the data is kindly provided by the Computing Club. And of course, it's the exact location and timing data. And I've just added in this tracking feature temporarily, just for testing right now. And of course, you would have realized by now that this is slightly different from the app that I submitted to you all. The reason that I did this is because I'm continuously developing the app, and I wish to release it on the App Store if possible. So I'm hoping to continue working on it. So mostly it's UI changes. So that's the datasets and API. Okay, first and foremost is the map. Now the map, of course, as you can see here, we have the normal mode, detailed, and the NUS campus map. And here you can see the basic NUS map. You have UTown as well, and you have the BTC campus. That's everything in NUS, pretty much. And you can easily navigate through them, and etc. So yeah, let me just explain a few features. So as I mentioned earlier, it's ARC-enabled tile-based map overlay. It's very memory efficient. Let's say I close out the app, and I open it back up again. Let's say if I ran out of memory, the tiles would have been loaded out, and then they will load back in again very quickly. Next up, accuracy is enabled because it's a Google Map overlay. And I have access to the Map View API, such as the annotations, etc. Next up, of course, we have normal, detailed, and campus map views. And I can even tap and hold to get a point. So it's something that I'm used to in my, say, the Maps application. I can just, tap and I can have Central Library pop up. If a certain place has, say, multiple locations, let's say here actually contains the annex as well. So the multiple locations will just drop in automatically. It's very user-friendly. And you also have the compass and distance to point. You have a GPS switch to save battery as well. So for example, I'm just exploring the campus. I want to find out the location, the route between one route to another. I don't need the GPS for that. So I can just tap and immediately turn off. And it's like a playground where you can just interact with, as I will show you later on. So that was map. Next up, of course, is search and select. For search and select, selection is rather basic, something we're used to in the current map application, so I'm not going to cover that. Searching, on the other hand, it looks something like this. So basically, you can see you've got the building search, room search, bus stop search, and car park search. Now, the first question you ask is, why did I separate this into 4 different groups? Why not just unify everything? The reason is because that I found that you can have more specific searches, which I will show you in a moment. So let's say I have the app open here. Now this is search. So as you can see here, I have the indexed view, which currently the existing application doesn't have. I can search by short forms. I can also use the dictionary here and search for certain keywords as such, with the index here as well. And if I want to add all the locations to the map, I can just tap the Add All button. For room search, of course, we can search by the exact room, say E4-08-20. So it will, okay, sorry. I don't know why it crashed. Let me try that again. So yeah, the room will just appear here as well. So you can just tap and view it on the map. Same for bus stops. I can say search for the exact bus that I want, say A1, and all the A1 bus stops will be displayed. Not only that, I can search for, say, certain keywords such as, Yusof Ishaq House, or B04, how about that? Or even the exact bus code, I don't recall, like 113 something, yeah, I can just search that. And the same is for car parks as well. I can search for visitor, or I can search out the names as I want them. So let me just show you the add all function. So this is my map. Let me enable detail map. Now let's add in all the A1 bus stops. Add all. And just like that, all of the A1 bus stops are automatically added in. So you can see across the map the bus stops really easily, and you can navigate through them as well. And it's also accurate on the NUS map. So yep, that's searching in general. So let me get back. Okay, so let's search and select. Now, it has the searching as I mentioned earlier. You can tap on the dictionary to view certain keywords. You can add multiple locations to the map with the add all button. You can search for locations any way you like. And it has indexed view on the side. And last but not least, you can instantly add new locations simply by updating the playlist file. It's automatically done. So that was search. Now here is IVLE integration. So here you can see the basic overview. Here I have tapped today's schedule, which has displayed to me here all my lessons of the day, which I can just tap and view on the map. And if I click this button here, it's called the link button. When I tap that, it'll automatically link the IVLE data to my point on the map permanently. And I can always unlink it easily. Now, when I do that, and I actually view the location, I can actually see this IVLE data automatically added here as well. Now, this thing is actually supported by multiple users. So let's say I log in to this login screen here, and it'll actually display the IVLE data. But if I log out, you'll have privacy. I will not see the data there. And it's supported by multiple users as well. So it's basically a highly secure post-login, which stores a key which updates when expired. You have module view and schedule of the day. You can tap to view the location on the map and tap to link IVLE data permanently until unlinked. And your IVLE info is gone when you are logged out, and it supports multiple users. Okay, any questions so far? No, I'll just continue. Yeah. All right, so now details. Now, once you have tapped a point on the map, as such, let's say I search for McDonald's. Okay, buildings here, McDonald's or something. And McDonald's appears here. Now, I can find out more information by tapping this thing here called More Details. So once I do that, I can actually see certain information. So just like that, it's there for several points. Here you can see room information. I have the list of rooms inside the office itself. And I can tap on the room and display that room on the map. So it's quite intuitive. For example, I search for OSA. Let me do that. OSA. So here I have OSA in Yusof Ishaq House. I will click More Details. And here I have all the rooms. And let's say I choose a room. Like this, it will automatically appear on the map. Yep. So that's for rooms. And also, you have the food details. You can tap on it just to call the number. And of course, you also have car park details, as you can see here. And best of all, you have the NUS bus details as well. So here you can see I've added an image, which I will show you shortly. And you can see all the bus timings here with a refresh button. It's actually at the bottom here. You can just tap to refresh. So basically the overview is that you can find out more information about these places. You can tap to add a room to the map. And the detail class, this class that actually displays all the information, is just one single class that takes in 5 pieces of information. That's it. And the class processes everything to display it. So that's why it is very easy to save to favorites. When I save to favorites, I just have to save these 5 pieces of information and bam, just display it automatically. So it's memory efficient. And these are custom images. I can actually tap this image icon and I can actually link an image to it. So I can give you this example. Let's say I have this room E4-08-20 and I'm never able to find this place. So what can I do? I can actually, let's say this is in favorites, right? I can actually choose any location I like, tap an image, either the camera or library. So let's say I choose library. Let me just choose a random picture, say this. It's actually Yusof Ishaq House. And I tap choose, and this will be permanently linked to the map. And you can see there's this Instagram-like effect I've also added onto the image. And of course, it'll automatically update as a thumbnail here. And I can remove it anytime I like. Yep. So that is some basic customization for the user. All right, so yeah, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, so next up, some basic routing. Okay, basic routing is basically you're able to find what is around you. So in this case, if you tap on your current location, you can find out the nearest bus stop, FMB outlet, ATM, or parking. It is basically very simple. It just finds the nearest location and drops it on the map. And it is nearest car park or bus stop to any location. And you also can easily get the opposite bus stop simply by tapping on the bus stop and finding the nearest bus stop. And you have a choice between all or visitor car parks. So let's say, of course, I'll likely search for visitor car park. So I can just tap the visitor button, which will appear. And yep. So this is basically the outlet that you will get when you tap on routing. Okay, moving on. So there was some basic routing. Now we have normal routing. So what is normal routing? It basically opens up Google Maps. So let's say I have two locations. I can just open it up and get the route. And I can easily open the Maps application, the native Maps, to start driving and start routing myself. And there's this easy-to-use selector option, which I shall demo now. Yep. So let's say we like two locations. Let's say we want to get from, maybe you all can mention any location you like. Yeah, in this case. Okay, sorry, I'll just choose. All right, so LT12, how about that? I'll choose route, normal routing, from a selected location. And here the selector pops up. I can always cancel it, or I can search for a new location and add it, or it'll basically always be there. It's like an overlay that automatically is there. And I can just choose my new location, as you can see here, NUS Neuroscience, or the Surface Science Laboratory, and just tap this. And the route is automatically seen here. I can tap and start driving. Or of course I can open up the maps. Now this works for current location as well. Alright, so that is basically normal routing. Okay. Alright, so finally I get to the crux of my presentation, which is the NUS bus router. So the NUS bus router is basically this tool that lets you find out the best route from one location to the other, the exact NUS shuttle bus information. So here's a quick preview before I actually show you how it works. So, okay, first of all, my current location is somewhere here. This is my final location, which is mentioned in green. And the route has automatically been drawn out, as you can see. And all the bus stops that are in between the location have been added as well. Now, I can tap on this button here to simply browse through the current route, including where to change buses and what bus to take. Or, I can actually browse through the multiple routes that have been found really easily. And once I'm done routing, I just press the stop button. So it's got this player-like interface, so it's quite intuitive to the user. And anytime I can continue to interact with the map, say by tapping on it and getting the bus information. And not only that, I've added this temporary tracking feature that lets you track the current bus, which I will show more on later. So basically the user will never have to worry again, especially you can imagine a freshie, he just arrived at the MRT. How's he going to find his way to his lesson? So that is something I think is really useful. So, yep. So I'm going to explain how the algorithm works in very, very quickly. So, first and foremost, let's say I've got my library here and I have the MRT, which is the end location. We are going to first of all find the nearest bus stops. So here we have one bus stop, but we may have an opposite bus stop as well. And the same goes for this location. Now, if there were just one bus stop per side, it will be really easy to route. But now there's four, so there's a lot of combinations. That's where the generate combinations function comes in. So, first and foremost, if it's just one bus stop on each side, let's say we have U-Town and E3A, each has only one bus stop, routing is very simple. We just have one option. Or if you have two like this, three like this, we can have two routes. And that goes the same for this as well. Now, the issue comes when there's four routes. So now there's 4 cases in total which we have to process. So that is called generate combinations. Now once that is done, all of this is passed into the start routing class, start routing function, which automatically generates the route from one point to the other. So it's going to take in these two bus stops. It's just from one of the routes, and it's going to first check, okay, what buses are there? Let's say I have A1 here and I have A1 there. Really simple. I can just draw a route across with the bus stops added in, and it will be displayed on the map. Now, what happens if we have two bus stops as such, A1 and D2? Now, the A1 route is already drawn, but I shall draw in the D2 route as well. But if you notice, it has actually three bus stops. So what does this mean? I can store this route for the user to access later, but I will display the A1 route because that is actually the shortest route based on the number of bus stops. Next up is called backtracking. So let's say I have a bus stop here, A1, and let's say this is U-Town, it's only got D2 here. So what happens? Now, first of all, I can backtrack this way. I can go from this bus stop to the nearest one where I have both buses, and then I can connect. Either that, I can go the other way. I can say go this way from the end, backtrack this way, and then I can draw a connecting line. So now two routes will be stored, so the user can decide what is actually best of him, based on the bus timings. So that is backtracking. Now once all these routes are stored, they are kept in memory, the best route is immediately displayed, the route lines are drawn via Google Directions API, and the user can immediately scan through the routes. And the best of all is that you can always add new bus stops, and it's not hard-coded, so the routing automatically adapts. So what happened is the Kenridge MRT bus stop. I totally forgot about it. I forgot to add it to my maps when I submitted. And what I did is I just added in that bus stop, and it worked fantastic. No issues at all. I just had to update the plist file that contained all the routes. For A1 it's like this, for A2 it's like this. Yeah. So that's draw route. And last but not least is the bus tracking. Now bus tracking is, basically it's quite simple. It just takes this information here and it just displays it on the map. And I'm still currently working on it because I'm trying to make sense of this data. Where exactly is between opposite YH and OED? So I'm trying to get the exact coordinates, and I'm working on that right now. So here you can see I'm tracking A1 respect to a certain bus stop, and it has got the bus here, the exact plate number, and the location as well. And I can always stop tracking either by hitting the clear button, stop button, or hitting this button here. So it is quite intuitive. Yep. So it'll keep tracking until I stop tracking it. Yep. So basically that I've come to an end of my presentation, and it is the demo now. Yep. So I will demo from my phone. So I open up the app for the first time. Sorry. I'm doing some beta testing now, so yeah, it's just some. So here I can log in. Let me just log in first. Okay, so basically I have my view here, and I can always unlink my file as I showed earlier, or I have the basic module views. And I can tap to view the location on the map. So let's say something like this. So before that I shall link the information. Go back to map. Let's view the NUS map view. And I can just simply get more information about the place as such. And I can always tap an image, and choose from the library. Maybe something like this, I don't know. Tap choose, it's there. Permanently it's stored, just to show you. Yep. And I will show you the routing as well. So that seems to be the crux of this. So let's try tap route, NUS bus router, from a selected location. Let's choose somewhere like the MRT, for example. So we tap and hold, and we tap the button here. And now we can see the route. We can easily scroll through the route. Say take bus A1. and it says change bus C here, take bus C all the way here until I reach my location. So it's really, really easy. In this case, I have one route displayed. So the route line is displayed. It's quite intuitive. And I've got the U-Town map here as well. So once I'm done routing, I can just press stop. So let's try, say, from U-Town, sorry, from PGP in this case. So we tap and hold PGP. So PGP is selected. Just tap the button there. And the route is automatically drawn. You can see you can take bus A1 all the way down, change to bus C, take bus C, and you have reached your location. And I'll show you one more. Let's try BIS. So in this case, I'm going to search. So the selector is still on. I'm just going to search for BIS. BIS2. Okay, it's popped up there. Once I do that, I can tap the button here, and the route is automatically drawn. So, okay, I think I just lost my connection. That's why the route dropped out. Let me try that again.
Okay, earlier on you talked about adding a new bus stop, right?
Yes.
Can it be done by the user or is it done by the developer?
Currently, it is done by the developer. Okay. Yeah, correct. So, okay, I think best if you can, ask me questions from here. If you'd like to see something.
Walking route?
Walking route is done via Google Maps. So I can just tap here, route, normal routing, and from current location, for example. And I can open up the Maps app from there, and I can figure out the walking route, just like that. Yeah, something like that. So most importantly is that I want the user to be able to get the NUS shuttle bus, because that is the one that I cannot get through Google Maps. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but Google Maps walking routes isn't that fantastic either. I think there's an easier way than going that one round circle.
I see.
And I think in a university campus, that's one of the more important things, right? You don't want to always have to walk around the roads to get between two buildings. But, I was just asking to see how useful it is. I didn't expect that.
Okay.
It might be some as a feature.
So this is nearest ATM. It works for our current location too, so I can say choose a place I like, say so I tap to hold, route, NUS bus router from current location. So the route's already drawn here. It says take bus D2, and I can reach my final location. I can scan through the routes. So for example, here I take bus B all the way there. It is not the best route, obviously, but it is just one of the routes that you can take. Yep.
So the same applies for adding of new bus services as well?
Yes.
It means if there are new bus services, you just add into your plist file and then recompile your app?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I see the route as a list, or do I always have to go through each point as graphical?
Yes, correct, currently. So it basically is for the user to easily navigate through, see where to change the bus and things like that. And I can also check the bus timings, as I mentioned earlier. Here I have the bus timings. I can track, say, A1 by pressing the bus sign. Yeah, it's a bit complicated. So the bus is continuously being tracked. Yeah. So possibly we might see it update if it moves. Yeah, so it's slowly moving.
Okay.
So yeah.
And at this moment, let's say I'm now at the central library,
yes.
And I want to know what's the direction to go to LT27, for example. Okay. Is there a way to point me in the right direction, like a compass where you show me where?
The compass is actually up here. The arrow there is currently moving.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's a basic compass.
Okay.
And that's the arrow to my end destination, right? Not my next point. Okay.
Do you have a help function? Because you have a lot of different things in your app, but.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's something that I agree, because I think you have a lot of functionality, which is really good. But then I think to the end user it might be very overwhelming because there's so many things within in one.
Help file here. It's not fully updated at the moment.
Right.
But you can figure out how the thing works. It's actually quite simple. I mean, once you start using it,
right.
Really, I can let you all try it if you want.
Yeah. Right.
But there might be some stuff that users might miss out.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
No, I think overall you have a lot of really great functionalities, but the only thing is that I think in terms of navigation, it's like to the user who's using your application for the first time might be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually did some field testing because I actually went out there and let some people try the app, and
Okay.
They said, okay, I want you to see if you can find your way to your location.
Sure.
They just picked it up. The first thing they did intuitively was to hold down the point. Then
Correct.
from there, we're like, okay, how do I find my way there? They type on the more information because that's what we do, and they click route.
Right,
That's
right.
the next thing they do.
Can you go to the page on the bus routing? It means the bus service routing. Let's search move from one point to another point.
You mentioned.
Oh, okay.
that you guys did.
Do you lose your internet connection? No. Okay.
Yeah, I think I probably did. Let me just
Okay, that's okay.
Sorry. Okay. So you can see the map moving out and moving out.
Right. Okay.
Okay, and I'll just click on the location, maybe S40 or how about Utown? Yeah. Or S40.
Okay. Just a simple one.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I'm more concerned about UI in terms of usability.
Okay.
I think the functionalities they're good.
Okay. So I'll tap route. The first thing
Right.
I'll do is hit route.
Right.
NUS bus router.
Correct.
And I'll figure out from my location or from another. So most likely I'll choose from my location.
Okay.
So then.
Right. Okay. Just hang on there. So you look at the bottom, the rows of buttons there.
Yes.
Yeah, like you mentioned about the play user interface where you get the stop, you get the next route. So that might be potentially confusing. So you might want to make it simpler, because I think that's the greatest feature of the iPhone, since you're using iPhone in this case. So you might just want to pay attention to the UI.
Sure. Okay.
Now, you
Yeah.
might want to indicate what it is because there's no indication of what specifically it is. And one being super meticulous, is there a reason why your arrows are pointed in the opposite directions on both sides?
Yes, I can just see it. I didn't realize that at first. Just realized that someone pointed out to it. Yeah.
Okay.
So what are the two arrows for again?
To see the next bus stop and the next bus
So-
stop.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Why is there a broken line in the
Yeah,
route?
that's because Utown is not able to display because in Google it doesn't exist yet, so I have to manually draw a route.
Oh, I thought you were swim across. Okay.
One final question, what's KR and BTC?
Oh, that's Cambridge and BTC now. So I can tap the BTC map and it works out here. Tap to hold everything works as well.
Oh, okay, so there's different maps.
Yeah, there's just these two, including Utown as well. And the thing is, it's actually quite unique, this app, because I don't think there's any app that tells you how to take the NUS shuttle bus as of now. And there's definitely no app that displays Utown on the map either. So I really hope this can be considered as something unique.
Okay, quick question. You say the shuttle bus, right? Does it tell me where the shuttle bus meets the public bus?
Shuttle bus meets the
Or does the shuttle bus even meet the public bus?
It depends on the route. I can easily see here what are the buses in each of the bus stops. So if it does meet the public bus, I'll know. Let me see if it actually meets along this route. Yeah, there's 95.
Yeah, I think it's like a constant sort of information overload. It'd be interesting if you took the approach of, like if you sat down for a day and figured out what could I remove without breaking it, and start scratching and scratching and scratching, and remove as much as you can until it breaks, basically, and then add it back. So like every little piece of information, like of which buses hit each of those points, you could probably take that out. There's lots of stuff you could probably take out. You might want to sort of take a day for minimalizing.
I see.
You know, but because there's like data and then there's insights, and the difference is data is let me just give you a bunch of stuff and then your brain can sort it out. Insights is let me sort it for you first and give you something you can just use. And I think you're more heavy on the data here, and that's a natural thing to lean towards. Is like let me give you as much data as I can. But actually, if you give somebody rather as little data but more insight, just something small that's terribly, in a good way, terribly useful in a good way, it's probably more valuable.
Okay.
But it's an interesting concept. Like, for instance, there's a lot of info on the bus stops and the bus location and the bus routes and all these things, but all I want to know is, where do I have to walk right now? What time is it going to pick me up? And what time is it going to drop me off?
Okay. I see.
And once
I don't have to know the routes in between and stuff like that.
Maybe. I mean, you have to know like when do you get off the bus, and that's always tough. You know, but if you just like let the person know, like just think about it from their perspective, they only want to know like 2 or 3 things.
Yeah, like in this case, I could actually know what time I'm getting off the bus stop by getting out. The connection is 4 years.
But there might be like a few taps to get there, right? But if you sort of bring that, if you think about it from an insights perspective, you bring it closer so that there's no taps between. It's just instantly giving you the most basic info. It may be sort of more useful, but I mean, it's very robust, and you've got a lot of stuff. Yeah, I think, yeah, just have sort of a minimalizing practice.
It's a bit harder because I'm like just myself, so it's a lot of time to spend on this. So,
yeah.
Actually, I have 2 more questions.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay. One, for the information that you have on all the different locations, for example, opening hours and all that, where are you pulling the information from?
This information is from OED, so it's currently actually hard-coded because they don't have an API to display it. So let's say I wanted to add a new location, I have to update my previous file.
So it's manual.
Location, it's manual.
Second question is, for all the different points that the user wants to put a picture,
Yes.
what can you see what kind of purpose can you see that serving?
Yes, okay. Basically, as I mentioned earlier, let's say let me just pull up a room here. Sorry. Okay, let me just any room, for example.
The mail locker room.
And let's say I add this
right? That's why you're asking, because you want to see the mail locker room.
And basically, let's say I don't know how this place looks like. I don't know how this place looks like. I can actually go there and take a photo, like say the camera function.
No, but the point is, if you're already there, you would know what it looks like.
But
if you have to take the picture.
I guess so, but I figured that sometimes you forget how it looks like or something. So
yeah, I think where that would be interesting is if other people could see the pictures.
Yeah.
But then you're helping. At this moment, it's not shareable.
Yeah, it's not shareable.
Right. If it was that, then it would be useful. That's one of those things where, like, if you take it out, it wouldn't break. So then take it out, and then like just have it. So you just have the basics, you know. Because then what will happen is when you go out of beta, that's always a scary part, right? You take away the registration key and the beta key, and you put it in the store, and people start using it. When you get to that point, and people start using it, you'll get overloaded with feedback, no matter even if you have 1 feature or 100 features, right? You'll always get lots of feedback, lots of stuff you can tweak and make better and make different. And if you do a minimalizing practice before you release the app, it will make your life a lot easier, and it'll increase the value of the app to the user, so that when you go with version 1.1 or you go with version 2, you can focus just on the valuable stuff and not on the niche things that only 1% of the users care about.
I see.
Does that make sense? So, because like, it'll take you longer to release it in the store and longer to maintain it and keep it valuable if you go with all these features than if you just scratch out as much as you can and go down to the really root core and just start with that. Even to the point where if you have features that work, maybe don't even deploy them at the start. Keep them hidden for the future. And just make sure that your core piece works really well. And then start adding stuff in.
And then one more thing is like, for example, the storing the bus information, the bus stop, right?
Yes.
Don't store it in the playlist file. Put it up on the web, put it on the cloud, put it as a web services. So that later on when you deploy your application, if you want to add in new bus stop, new bus services, right, simply update your web services and the application remains untouched. And then the users would automatically get all the new bus information automatically.
Actually, bus stops don't really update that often, but definitely for
Bus services. Bus
services.
services. And then as well as other data, like you're fetching from web services.
Okay.
Are you a CS or CE student?
I'm a going year 2 CEG student.
You mentioned you didn't know Objective-C 2 months ago.
No.
Good job.
Yeah,
It's very good job.
very nice work, yeah.
It's quite similar to C++ in some sense, so it's okay, not too bad.
How long did it take you to?
For 400 to 500 hours of coding, yeah, around that. Especially the routing algorithm. You had to like sit down and plan it out, like how it's going to work out and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, we are time out, so
Yep, I think we are done.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks very
That
much.
was good.